Hello Mouses, we're back on the vlog section of this channel, which I'm now going to call the Zog. Episode 1 of the Zog from 23rd of May 2012. Now, today is the 96th episode. It took 4 years to get 45 episodes, and then episode 45 was the first one of my vlog every day for a week challenge, and then we went on and just kept going, and now this is the 51st one since that challenge started, and I have not missed a day. I have had days where they've gone up a little later than they otherwise would have, but I've not missed a day with these vlogs. So it took me 4 years to do 45 episodes, and then 50 days to do another 50, and then this one as well. Wow, that's a lot of content. But here's the thing, even when I look back at episode 1 of that 7-day challenge, my editing style and presentation style has improved. When I look at this original episode, episode 1, it's so much different. And I'm sure back then the presentation style was different because it was a weekly vlog and this one's daily. But even then, the presentation style, the execution, the editing, every single part of filmmaking has been improved by doing a video every day. Practice literally makes perfect. By the way, if these are a bit of a distraction, that's because they are fantastic earrings that my sister gave me for my birthday, so thank you, Beth. And the reason is, I saw some earrings when I was down south, I think it was Whitney, or somewhere in Oxfordshire near Whitney, where they had these in the window of a jeweller's, and I loved them, but the jeweller was closed at the time that we were there, so couldn't get them. And then Beth found some and sent them to me for my birthday. Thank you. What I actually wanted to talk to you about today, because today's been rained off essentially and I haven't had a huge amount of stuff that was actually filmable. What I'm going to tell you a story about is essentially an answer to a question that keeps coming up whenever people notice, whenever I do a thumbs up and you see my fingers instead of the back of my hand, you'll notice that I can't bend one of my fingers. Now, I've mentioned this once or twice before, but I've never gone into detail about what actually happened. So today, sit back boys and girls, because we're going to tell a story. When I was 9, I used to play out in a park down by my parents' house. And there was a tree line down at the park where we had a kind of little play area where the trees kind of went over in a canopy and there was a bit of dry land underneath. We used to hang out there a lot because it was a good meeting point for local kids. There was a lot to do in the area because there was a park there, but there was a wall you could climb on. There was a lot of just overgrown stuff that you could hide in, play hide and seek, things like that. So we hung around there a lot. And one day we'd been playing archaeologist, which basically meant we'd been digging the ground up to see what was there. And I'd found a crowbar, which made me the local popular kid because obviously, wow, you found a crowbar, that's interesting. No one's done that before. So we had this crowbar and we'd left it there because what's a crowbar useful for a kid? So it'd just been left at the place where we were. And we come back the day after, or maybe a day or two after, and we were just climbing around in the trees that made the canopy up. So I was climbing around and hanging in a tree, fairly high up from the ground, and this other kid came along. Well, I say kid, he was about 16, and bear in mind that I was the eldest of all my friends, and I was 9. So you can see where this is going. This kid, technically I suppose he was still a kid, wasn't all there. He was a little bit crazy. And he picked up the crowbar. Now, we were all playing in the trees, didn't really think much about it because this guy, we all knew him. And he'd never been a bother before. He started smacking the tree with a crowbar and trying to basically chop it down with a lump of metal. So everyone else was getting out the tree, and I hadn't got out the tree because I couldn't. I was quite high up, I was still climbing down. So this guy is smacking at the tree, at the branches that I was holding onto trying to get out the tree. And he goes, smack on the branch that I'm holding onto. I can't get down because he's now in the way. And smack again, and then smack straight onto my hand with a big metal bar that was rusty and that had been dug out of the ground a couple of days earlier. I have never felt anything so painful as when this joint here broke. I screamed so loud that local people looked out the windows to see what was going on, and just dropped out of the tree. Ran off. I just ran. This guy ran up behind me and grabbed hold of me, I think he was trying to apologise. I'm not entirely sure. I think it probably, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, he probably was. But I elbowed him in the stomach to get him away from me and just ran home. All my friends ran after me. I was in tears and delirious. I don't remember anything else of what happened. I think I didn't make it home. I think my granddad came out of the house to find out what the commotion was and took me into his house. I then remember my dad coming to my granddad's house. Yeah, I must have gone to my granddad's house because I remember my dad coming to my granddad's and seeing what the problem was. I was in pain, in tears. No one could stop me from crying at this point. He just took one look at what had happened and took me straight to the hospital. Oh my goodness, the pollen count is so high today, I'm practically drowning. It's ridiculous. So anyway, we went to the hospital and they took an x-ray. Almost immediately, I got ushered through triage and taken in for an x-ray to find out exactly what had happened. I couldn't move my hand at this point. I just couldn't have bent any finger. And they went, like, clearly something's wrong. And took me in. The x-ray, I will never forget what I saw, because you know how you do an x-ray of your hand and you just see the bones in your hand and it's recognised to be a hand? Well, on my x-ray, I had the bone for this part of the finger, and this part was over here. I kid you not, the tip bone of my finger was not attached to the rest of my hand. So no wonder I was in pain. So they splintered me up with my finger bandaged to the one next to it, with just a thin piece of basically wadding in between the fingers so that they wouldn't rub together and sweat wouldn't cause it to stick and things like that. And I had a finger like that for, gotta be 6 weeks, maybe even longer. I couldn't move my hand for a long time. So it was weird when I finally got it off, because when the bandage finally came off, and it hurt for days afterward, by the way, I had this massive blue lump just about here. When you see a tiny lump on my finger, I had this massive blue lump on top of it. And I still don't know what that was. Some kind of blister, maybe? I don't know. But it didn't just disappear, it didn't scab over anything. It just dried out and then pulled off. I still don't know what that was. I lost the ability to play the guitar. I've been starting to learn how to play the guitar, now I can't. I still try, but for obvious reasons, because I have no joint there. There's been no joint ever since. I can't get the right chords. I can play violin a little bit, because it requires different movements, but guitar was my favourite musical instrument, and now I can't do it. At the checkups after the bandage came off, the doctor said, if I don't practice squeezing a power ball or a stress relief ball, then I'll probably never get movement back in my finger. So every day I had some plasticine I had to squeeze to get grip back. I had a power ball I had to squeeze, not a power ball, what's it? A stress ball I had to squeeze to try and get movement back in my finger. Did that every day for 2 years. And I got no movement back. It was completely destroyed. So that is the sum total of movement that I can do with that finger. See all the other ones they bend? That one can't. See? Total difference. And that's the story of how I broke my finger. Because some guy who had clear mental issues, and I don't blame him. I honestly don't think that he knew what he was doing. I don't blame him, but because of that guy, I've got no movement in this finger. Every time the weather changes, I get an ache in the sand now, because what I have instead of a joint there is an air gap, essentially. Well, it's a fluid gap, and of course it compresses and expands due to temperatures and changes in atmosphere and pressure and things like that. So I now have my own personal barometer built into this finger. It's like a superpower that you really wouldn't want. Anyway, that's the story about that, so I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, maybe now people will stop sending me messages in, what's wrong with your hand? Because now you know. Anyway, that's really all I've got time for today. 51st of these new daily videos, and let's hope we get 50 more, and then 500 more, whoever knows. But anyway, that was a story of the most painful experience in my life. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you tomorrow.